start recording this so that I can send this out to maybe other interested people. And there used to be this thing where I could actually make sure that you guys are all seeing the same thing. So, Lola, it looks like you're back to being muted again. And if you could, I don't know, if there's something there that allows you to raise your hand or something, just let me know you can hear us. And there we go. Okay, so she's raising her hand. I'm going to assume that you can hear us, but that maybe you've muted yourself for a reason. But anyway, I'd like to just go ahead and get going here. Thanks to everybody for being here. I'm sorry we're a little late. I was completely flabbergasted when I opened up my PowerPoint and every single slide was blank. And I don't know what could have happened to it. So what I wanted to do this morning was basically give you a sales overview, a presentation that I have been giving a lot over the last year for various groups. The one you're going to see today was really developed for an AMFO in St. Augustine, Florida, and we've gotten a lot of advisors, from that relationship with Your Family Bank and Larry McLean, down in that area. So what I want you to see is what advisors see when I'm trying to pitch them. And the idea here is I can actually package this so that each of you should be able to send this file to each of you, kind of in a special file that pretty much anybody can use on a web browser. So you don't necessarily have to invest in PowerPoint, but lots of computers already come with it already set up. So moving ahead, why is this not working? Come on, there we go. All right, so what I want to give advisors when they're looking at this service, the first thing I really think that we should all really be stressing very significantly is that the advisor is not in the business of preparing tax returns. They virtually have to know nothing about taxes to be able to use this service. And I think it'd be easy for anybody to kind of get caught up in very quickly, oh, well, geez, I don't want to, this is about taxes. I really don't want to be in the tax business. And, that's a misnomer that we sort of have to kill very quickly, which is kind of the reason we're going to rebrand our service. You see up here at the top, we say, tax preparation service for financial advisors. And in fact, we're really not, we're in the lead generation service. And that's how or why financial advisors, would be subscribing to our service. But when I do this, I give them this is the why is because you want to attract more people to your business on a consistent basis. Nobody can survive on just, hanging a sign out or putting a sandwich board out on the sidewalk. We all have to be doing something to attract new business to our offices. But most people in this business and other businesses like it in the personal service industry really depend on referrals. And that's a really solid, great way to build your business, but it's organic. And, it depends on one person telling another person who's telling another person, what a great job that you did for them. And that is really solid, but it's really slow. So the why is that you need to build your business. You need to find new and innovative ways to attract people to your business. The how is offering a service to the general public that pretty much everybody needs. Almost everybody probably even over the age of 16, files a tax return. If you have a teenager in your life, if you don't already, I'm sure they're going to have a summer job at some point, and they're even going to be filing a tax return. So the objective, of course, is to use one of the three main products that is in our service to attract new people to come into your office to talk to you about your services. And of course, the third thing that we need to show them is essentially how to sell. And this is a concept that you may think the most successful advisor in the world already knows how to do, but I think you'd be surprised that selling from our service is really different. And again, you don't have to be a tax expert, and we need to stress that. You don't need to even know anything at all about taxes, but we want to be able to show them how to sell this service. And at least up until previously, we used to think that that, or at least I believed for quite a long time that that individuals that subscribe to our service would just be able to pick it up and run with it, that it was just so incredibly simple that they would just be able to run with it, and we really wouldn't need anything more than that. And what we've really learned is that's just not true, that they're not able to just pick up and run with this thing. So anyway, moving along, come on now, there we go. All right, here's the why. No one ever has too much in commissions. In 30 years of being in this business, I have never ever heard anyone say, Tom, I am just making too much money. I don't, in fact, I'm making so much money, I need to go out and buy a baling machine, and I need to be able to bail up all this money, and I'm going to have to build a building to put all the money in. In fact, my local bank says they can't take it all because they don't have enough room in their vault. Nobody ever says that. Every advisor is, or every business owner is always looking for the next sale, for the next big project that's going to deliver commissions, it's going to deliver revenue. It doesn't really matter what it is, but no one ever has too much in income, okay? An advisor can use our service to add value to their already existing client relationships and the client relationships that they're trying to develop. When an advisor, all too often, advisors make recommendations for investment planning, for retirement planning, and then they sell these products to the client, and then they send them out the door. And the client, come tax time, the client starts getting all these various tax documents, and they're not necessarily going to know exactly what to do to them or with them. And when you can provide that solution, or when an advisor can provide that solution to their client, they are really adding value to the client relationship. You get to be, and I kind of alluded to this just a moment ago, that the advisor really needs to be the one-stop shop for their clientele. And all too often, the client calls and says, hey, Bob, I got this K1 from this thing that you put me in, and I have no idea what to do with it. I have no idea how to put it on my tax return, and I'm trying to do it myself, and can you help me? And the answer is, I don't know, Mr. Client. You're going to have to go talk to a CPA, go down to your local H&R Block office, go over to Liberty Tax Service, or whoever puts a sign on their front yard during tax time that they do taxes. And when they allow the client to do that, they really lose control of the relationship, because they don't know what the tax preparer or the other professional might be telling them about the information that they're bringing in for preparing the tax return. When a financial advisor has a client's tax return, not just the current year tax return, but previous tax returns, you have, or the advisor has the ability to study what I call the client's financial DNA. And when you think about what goes on your tax return, there is an enormous wealth of information that is contained on that document that when you know how to read it, when you know what the DNA means, it's powerful information. For example, just by looking at a tax return, you can tell if a person is married. You can tell the name of their spouse. You have their Social Security number. You're probably going to have some other documents, so you're going to know how much money they make, where they work, whether they participate in a 401k plan. You're going to be able to see their sources of interest and dividends. That tells you that just the amount of the dividends, the amount of the interest can give you a clue as to how much money they have in various types of investment vehicles. So you can tell an enormous amount, how many children they have, probably even what the ages of the children are, approximate ages. When you look at their itemized deductions form, you know whether they own a home or not. You know if they maybe have illness in their family because of the amount of medical expense. You know whether they might be philanthropically minded just by looking at what their charitable contributions are. So there's an enormous amount of information that is on that tax return that an advisor can use to be able to present products and solutions to a client based on what they've learned, in part based on what they've learned about that client from the tax return. And when you're the one that brings solutions to the client, or the financial advisor is, I call this being the class valedictorian. You are at the head of the class. You graduated with the highest GPA because you're bringing solutions to your client and not sending them out the door to go to yet another problem solver, whether it's a CPA or a tax preparer or another one, like a big box store like H&R Block or so on. So you're the one that's standing out in front, giving them solutions to the challenges that are ahead of them. And of course, everybody on our team here at Money Smarts is on their team, right? We want their success is our success. So when we have an advisor that subscribes to our service and then does nothing with it, in a manner of speaking, I kind of take that as like a failure of our team to be able to, if we could have done more to reach out to them and say, let us help you. Let us help you build your business. Let us help you learn. And that's kind of the reason that you all are here, and the reason that we're doing a lot of things differently is to try and put more and more opportunities out there for financial advisors to really get serious about our service. So serious, in fact, that what we used to give away for free in terms of their subscription, we're now asking for $1,895, as you all already know. So what we've learned, I guess, over the past few years is that most people do not value anything that they get for free. And I think of this a lot of the times like the internet, If the internet was always free, you probably wouldn't value it or think about paying for it until it wasn't there anymore. Or it didn't, the free stuff didn't work reliably. And so then if it was really important to you, you pay for it. I also think of it a lot like windshield washing liquid, the bucket at the gas station with the squeegee on a handle that you get to clean your windshield with, and boy, when you really need it and it's not there, you're really kind of annoyed by it. And I know I do. I hate it when I pull into the service station and I'm looking in that little thing and there's absolutely no fluid in there whatsoever. And if you've ever tried to travel here in the Northeast in the wintertime, you know what kind of crud and crap you get on your windshield and on, you know, your headlights and everything else. So there's got to be some value there. More importantly, when we talk about the how, and this is really important to advisors, is the fact, you know, we are working with the leading web portal technology developer to be able to do the work that we do. There is no other company in the United States or anywhere else that we know of that has the kind of product and the product versatility that this particular package has. It is absolutely true that there are plenty of, you know, companies that offer portal solutions, or they call it secure, but I don't think it's, when I look at some of these things like Dropbox and Sendit and things like that, they're cheap. They're not really, you know, portals per se. They're just like safety deposit boxes, which, in a manner of speaking, really aren't really up to the kind of challenge that we have to have, or the, you know, standard that we have to meet through the Treasury to be able to do this on, you know, on the web. So it's pretty important, I think, for an advisor to know that we have secure solutions, not just convenient, like, you know, being able to clip it to an email and putting a password on it. We all know, or should know, that that is not in any way, shape, or form secure. And we only have to look at, what was, I hate to bring this up, but I just think it's really comical, is if you haven't heard the news about this website called AshleyMadison.com, has everybody heard of this now because of what's happened in the news?
I was not on that site, I swear to God.
Well, right, but we all pretty much know what it was. This is a website that you subscribe to be able to hook up with members of the opposite sex, ideally to you know, have an affair or some type of intimate relationship, and their website got hacked, and so now all this information is floating around out in the public domain, and some celebrities are being caught up in this right now. And in fact, you know, if you don't know who the Duggars are from watching television, you know, these are the people that think it's absolutely wonderful to go out and create 19 children, you know, and then have a reality show about it. But their son was caught up in it, and there's some other celebrities and so on. But the important thing is that out of all of that is nobody wants to have their personal, you know, data exposed to the whole world on the internet. So our system is really very, very different than any of the other systems that are out there. So what advisors, of course, on the front end, you know, they see these things that don't necessarily, you know, almost every website has a username and a password, you know, but they don't really know or understand what the technology is that goes behind this. And you know, we're quickly moving to an environment where this service that we're having here is going to start offering a biometric option for being able to log into their system. For example, now you can have some cell phones are equipped with this technology, tablets, laptops, that you actually have to put your thumb and a sensor reads your fingerprint. That you are the one that, is sitting at this computer and would allow you to access the technology based on that biometric. And they're looking at others to make it harder and harder and harder to, to hack into systems like this. So when you'll see some of these things, once we get into actually demonstrating the website, this is what it looks like inside of our portal. Now, most of you, Lola, I know you're intimately familiar with this. Holly, you've had some exposure to this. Scott, I don't know, how much opportunity you've had to be inside of our portal, but
no, I'm very familiar with it. I'm also familiar with it on what actually goes on in the tax world. At least the tax. The company I was with had to deal with all this and securing information, and they were actually trying to be very good about. They had a secure portal and everything, but obviously, if somebody argues, "Hey, this is not secure," go down to H&R Block, go down to Liberty. None of that's secure. Not in the sense that you have very open forums where you are laying out your information and saying it in front of everybody.
Right.
So,
exactly.
I just wanted to mention that.
Even IRS has recently been the subject of a security breach. And recently there was information published in a news article that I read that the depth of the breach was much greater than what was originally thought to have happened. So I think we're probably going to hear a lot more of that. But at least what's inside our portal, and the sense of organization here, I think is really important to understand that every client gets their own account basically, but their account is represented by this little icon that looks like a file cabinet. And if you were to open up any file cabinet, right, you would normally find probably file folders in it. And that's exactly what you find inside of our cabinets. You find file folders that are specifically, they're pre-designated folders, and they would obviously contain documents, just like a regular, file folder, or pardon me, a file cabinet would have inside of it. Now, it's important to remember, you're going to see this in a few minutes. Each of these folders have been designed specifically to contain certain kinds of information. And dependent upon what a financial advisor does, which is really mostly about uploading, they would use their toolbar up here to upload documents to this to the client's cabinet. And depending on what they do, it triggers a notification in our office that somebody's done something, and we go and we investigate what we find there. Most often, it's the completion of submitting all of the data for a tax return, and then we go out and do our job, which is to take that data and then turn it into a tax return. So, becoming familiar, obviously, you're going to want to be able to demonstrate, what this system looks like to a potential advisor, and you're probably going to have to do it remotely. You're going to have to be sitting at your computer, being on the telephone. I think it's possible if you're courting somebody in your local area, or that's commutable, that you could be showing this in person. But one of the tools that I really think everybody should have on their computer is a program called TeamViewer.com. And the best part about it is it's free. So, the person that you might be presenting to has to download a very quick, simple program to their computer, and you can actually connect your computer and their computer to where they can see your screen and you can make a presentation, right from your computer. So, of course, a financial advisor needs to understand the process. And the most important thing that we need to relay to financial advisors that that are purchasing our system is you absolutely, positively, without a doubt, have to market your service. You cannot take shortcuts. You cannot just put a sign in your window. You can't put a sandwich board out on the street. It just doesn't work that way. And you have to let the general public know that you offer it doesn't matter what your service is, right? The public has to know or have a way to know or a way to find you to find your service. So marketing is absolutely the key, and that's one of the things that we came to realize that after doing this a number of years is that we're even as part of our subscription fee, we're going to give marketing materials directly to a financial advisor, no additional cost, all included in the subscription, and that's one less reason for them to not go out and do something. Now, the most successful people that offer this service, and I talk about this quite a lot with advisors, is that you need to be advertising in a local newspaper. I don't mean like Lola. I don't mean the Dallas Morning Times. I don't mean the New York Times or the Philadelphia Inquirer or the San Francisco Chronicle. That is not where people look for your kind of service. I'm talking about a local publication. It might be a newspaper that's published in your town or in your county probably once a week is likely to be how the frequency of publication. What we learned not too long ago from other studies is that daily newspapers have an average life in the household of less than 4 hours. That means you walk out the front door, walk down the driveway in your slippers and your robe and your cup of coffee in hand, you pick up the newspaper and you take it back into the house. And the probability, you're going to be looking at that maybe while you're having your morning coffee, your your breakfast, whatever it is, and that's exactly where you leave it, is probably on the kitchen table, and then it ends up in the recycle bin. The length of time that a local newspaper that gets published a minimum of weekly stays in the household is about 4.5 days. So that is much more exposure within that particular, not just that household, but within that community for people to see your ad. And, of course, we also provide, and we're in the process of revising those now, and I'm thinking that probably, Linda, we're going to have those, pretty soon. We'll have to check in with Brett, but
I'm hoping by the end of the very end of September to have these marketing materials put together.
Right.
That's the goal.
Right. So what I try to emphasize to advisors, is you don't need a full page ad. In fact, probably the smaller the better. I think these are all over the country, right, Linda? The Coffee News.
Yeah.
In different markets all around the country, and this Coffee News is like a little tabloid that's generally offered for free in restaurants and other public places, and local businesses pay to advertise. I know you've all sat down at a diner and there's a paper placemat, and all around the edge of the paper placemat are local businesses advertising their product or service, and right in the middle is like the word find, or maybe a crossword puzzle or trivia questions or whatever it is. But it really has to be local, and it can be a very small ad, that says, you probably paid too much in income tax last year, and have your Scott Middlesworth, 555-1212, call me for a free review of your tax returns. It could be that simple, and name recognition is really important, I think. Almost all of us could probably name at least one State Farm insurance agent in our community, because they always advertise locally, because that's where their market is. And if you've been in that market for a while, most people recognize your name. So marketing is really absolutely essential to the advisor. If they're not going to do it, then they might as well not do this service. You're just saying, I don't want more business. If you don't want more business, you know, hang up the phone, and you're just wasting your time, you know, beating a dead horse. You know, when you do market your service and prospects are literally coming to your door as a financial advisor and they bring their tax returns with them, you have the opportunity to pre-qualify every single prospect that walks through your door just by looking at their tax return. And we all know, we talked about the financial DNA a few moments ago, where you can look at the tax return and you can say right on the spot, there's not much I can do for this guy. Maybe this person is a college student and they're working at UPS on the weekends and maybe holidays and stuff like that just to get by. Good contact information to have that you might be able to follow up with that kid in 4 or 5 or 6 years once they've graduated and they're starting to work, but they're still not your ideal prospect. And I'm going to talk about what the ideal prospect is for a financial advisor in just a few moments. But you could easily look at that return and set it into a pile to say, sorry, there's nothing I can do to help you. And you can take some information off of that, like a name, address, phone number, that kind of thing, put it into your Rolodex and save it for later, and then return the materials to them. But you're going to be left with a pile of prospective clients that are left out of that. Now, quite frankly, what we know from having done this, the best kind of client and the most profitable kind of client that any financial advisor is looking for is probably between the ages of 55 and 65, and they can fall into 2 categories. I call them the nearly retired and the recently retired. The reason that you're looking for that kind of person is they have the most assets. They've probably been working in their profession or their current job for 25, 30 years. They've been working on plugging away money into that 401k, other deferred comp plans, and they are going to be looking to transition to the next phase of their lives probably within the next 5 years. And that's one of the things I've learned in 30 years of this business is that almost everybody's life changes significantly in some way every 5 years. And you can see just how easy that is. You graduate college, within 5 years you're probably going to be married, within another 5 years you may have family, you may have children, and then they're going to start going to school, and roughly about every 5 years. So, but the people that you can make the most impact for as a financial advisor are probably that 59 or 55 and plus category, because they're going to be the ones that when they retire, you want them to turn to you to say, you're my financial advisor, roll over this money and let's start managing it for the rest of my life. And that's where the commissions start to develop, is when they actually place assets under management and you can actually do, your best work. So being able to do that with our service is unlike any other service that they could ever subscribe to. There's plenty of lead services out there, and that all you get is a name and a telephone number, or maybe a name and an address and a telephone number. And when you contact that person, you have to be the one to be kind of doing this pre-qualification process. And you had to go to them. Our service brings them to you. The financial advisor gathers data from the client when they're offering the tax preparation service or a second opinion service, and they're getting W-2s, 1099s, all the stuff you all are familiar with. Everybody on this call has filed a tax return. They know what these documents look like. So the financial advisor, all they have to do is gather this information, basically, organize it in a rudimentary way, and then scan it and send it up to our service, and then we do the rest. So that's actually pretty simple. So they send it to us through the web portal, and then they get back the finished product from us, which is the tax return. So they get to see the financial DNA of this client. And as part of that process, we may notice something along the way that we're going to advise the financial advisor about. Like, if a client has $30,000 of interest income on their income tax return, that's an important thing. Wouldn't you agree, Scott? You there, Scott?
Well, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we are compliant with Circular 230 on being able to offer other things to use the financial data. I mean, I know that's an issue in tax offices and for financial planners.
Right. Because and we've already solved that problem because, which I can talk about in a little bit more when we do a more detailed one of these things, is that every client that walks through a financial advisor's office that brings their tax information for tax preparation not only signs an engagement letter, basically a contract with J.T. Hicks and Company to do their tax return, they sign a disclosure agreement under the terms of Code Section 8216 and Circular 230, which explicitly gives us the right to share that information with the financial advisor and for the financial advisor to use that information to get products and services to them. So the client is, in fact, overtly giving everybody involved in this process permission to do what we do. So, but the most important thing really to me for a financial advisor is they get the finished product on their desk that they're going to deliver to the client, and they have the opportunity to study that tax return, look at any of the comments and suggestions that we might have made, and to be able to use that information to market products and services to the client. It also is an excellent stepping off point to be able to use what we call our what if service, which is exactly what it sounds like. The financial advisor can query our company and say, if I get this client to take this $30,000 or the money that's generating this $30,000 of interest and to do something else with it, specifically A, B, C, or D, whatever it happens to be, can you illustrate for me on a tax return what their tax return would look like if they followed my proposals? And that, again, is more powerful because when they're making a presentation to their client, they can say, look, here's what you paid in taxes this year. And if you had, if I was working with you last year at this time, here are the things that I would have recommended for you, and here's what your tax return could have looked like, or what it would have looked like if we had done those. And that's really kind of powerful because this illustration is, in fact, on a tax return. It looks like exactly the same as the tax return that that they're filing for the current year, and has their name, their address, everything about it is absolutely identical, and you can illustrate what it would have looked like had it been, you had been working with them the year before. Okay, so again, another important fact: you deliver the finished product.
And Tom, that is not done in the industry, in the tax industry. What you just described is not done, 99% of the time?
I would say probably 99.9% of the time.
Yeah.
And I like to get more aggressive with financial advisors to say, this is not about me. This is about you. I got paid to do the tax return, but you're the one with the products and services. use this information to make proposals to your, your prospective client, because that's what turns into commissions for you, is when you make, recommendations and proposals, and you use your products and your services to do that. So I'm quite certain that everybody here has, at one time or another, had an experience with a company like H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt or Liberty Tax. It doesn't really matter. They do a nice job for a large part of the population. But you walk in, you sit down, you give somebody your tax information. You might sit there and talk with them for 10 or 15 minutes, and either they're going to do the return right there while you wait, or you're going to come back in a couple of days to pick up your return, and you sign a bunch of papers, you pay your fee, and you walk out the door, and that's about it. H&R Block doesn't really do any more than that. And I think, this speaks to the add value to your client relationship by doing things like this, by, offering solutions to problems. Don't worry, Bob. We can do your tax return right here in our office. No need to go anywhere else. You're going to come in to see me anyway to look at proposals, to look at how your investments are doing, and we're going to take care of that for you right here in the office. No fuss, no muss. And of course, it displays out the financial DNA right on the advisor's desk, and then they have the opportunity to take it further to say, if I could solve this problem for you, Mr. or Mrs. Client, here's what your tax return would look like. And I don't think, I can honestly say that we don't do as many of those as we used to. Probably tax prep is our number one, and number two is second opinion. And quite frankly, I think advisors would be well advised to, let's reverse that. Let's make our second opinion. I do as many second opinions as I do tax returns in my office, and work for getting more clients to do business with you as the financial advisor. So ultimately, the financial advisor delivers the tax work to the client and seizes that opportunity, to be more how should I say, sticky, a more sticky relationship with the client. Then the financial advisor should be trying to close the deal for their products and services, whatever is appropriate for that particular client, and then they get paid. And this is really an important function, because we probably don't stress to advisors enough that you can recover every single penny that you spend on this service and any other marketing service that you have by using our service. And it's only in that you're going to ask the client to pay you something for providing that tax return, because we charge the financial advisor to do it. So almost all of our advisors, I don't know of any now at this point that don't ask to be paid for the service to recover their costs. In fact, most of them actually mark up our cost. So, Lola, I know you can't connect for some reason, but I'm sure Lola could speak. She worked at a financial advisor's office, and I'm sure that they marked up the cost of our service to cover, those expenses. And I know many, many, many other advisors actually do the same thing. It might be $25, $35, maybe $50, but you're going to, if you do enough of you're easily going to cover the $18.95 and actually maybe even make a little bit of money. Now, now's a good time to talk about just how one client walking through the door, the right client, could completely turn the tide of your business and cover every single penny and then some that you might have spent in marketing. Case in point is an advisor we have in Houston, Texas, does exactly what we recommend that they do, which is advertise consistently in local publications and use our second opinion service to get people to come to you. And that's what I say that in my advertising that, you can create a steady stream of clients coming to your door 52 weeks a year by using our service. Now, this woman
he is advertising year-round, correct?
Yes.
I mean, he's not just advertising during tax season.
That is correct.
Okay.
The message changes, depending on the time of year, but that's right. He's doing 52 weeks a year, and many of our advisors are. Anyway, this woman walks into the financial advisor's office, and she said, "I'd like to take advantage of your second opinion service." And the financial advisor looked at the tax return and sent it up to us normally to do, and my eyeballs popped out of my head, and I think I must have been like those Rock'em Sock'em robots, because I had my block knocked off when I looked at this tax return. Turns out this woman who just walked into her office because she saw the ad in the newspaper had been, earlier that year, had been to Missouri to visit some family that she had in Missouri. While she was there, she played the Missouri State Lottery. Now, you might find this hard to believe, but I've got the 1099, and I can show you the proof of this. This woman won $126 million in the Missouri State Lottery. After she was done paying taxes that year, she had $80 billion after taxes. If you took the 126, subtracted the taxes that she paid, she had $80 million. Now, can you imagine what the potential commission to a financial advisor who places $80 million of assets under management? I think the going rate for most advisors these days is 3%. If you do the math, that's $2.4 million on $80 million. $2.4 million. Now, do you think that this client prospect who won the Missouri State Lottery, do you think they would have just by happenstance happened to walk into this woman's office? Just pure dumb luck. I think no. I think because this advisor was advertising their services in a local newspaper and doing it consistently is what caused this woman to pick up the phone, call, make an appointment to come in and drop off this information. Now, the financial advisor paid me $49.95 to review that return, and I generated a report that was 6 pages long. And I'd be happy to show you the report so you can see it. And was the $49.95 that she paid me plus the $25 or the $30, whatever it was per week, for the previous 52 weeks in the year, was it all worth it? Of course it was. Absolutely it was, on just one client. Now, let's face it, you're not going to have, that's probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but that might be all you need, right? In a manner of speaking. But if you are not consistently prospecting for new business, you will be consistently not receiving new business. That's my my attitude toward the whole thing. If you don't do it consistently, you will consistently not get results. And so ultimately, the financial advisor, getting back on point here, the financial advisor can use our marketing system and it basically costs them nothing. They put out the initial money, they pay us the $49, whatever it is, they can recover all of that and then some by the new business that can come through their door. Case in point, Margaret Sucre Vale down in Houston had a woman with $80 million to invest walk through the door. How often does that happen? Not very often. But do other people come through the door? They absolutely do, and all of our financial advisors confirm that in fact people will walk through the door, and not everybody that walks through the door is going to be a qualified prospect. But again, you get to pre-qualify your prospects when you're using this service, and you don't have to serve everybody. You only want to serve the people that you can really truly help. So then they of course they get paid, and the next part of course is repeat. And I think this is kind of funny because I don't. Those of you who know me know I don't have any hair. I'm bald, and if you look at the bottle of shampoo that is in that little rack inside your shower that maybe a teenager uses or your wife uses or whatever, and the instructions always say rinse, lather, and repeat. Shampooing your hair is pretty basic, isn't it? You rinse your hair, you get it wet, you use the shampoo, and you rinse it, and then you repeat. And it's the same thing here. The process is so simple. All we're asking them to do is put an ad in your local paper that you offer tax preparation, or that you'll give a free second opinion report, and you can have people coming to your door as a result of doing that.
Tom, could I interject?
Sure.
Something? Yeah, I'm just on the second opinion service. We're charging $49.95 to those financial advisors who sign a subscription agreement and pay, for their agreement. And again, that's, really a loss leader for us. We're doing it to generate more business and hopefully get everybody's tax business. But if they were to come to us and not as a registered subscriber, that second opinion would cost anywhere from $300 to $500 if we normally billed out at our hourly rate. So that is another huge selling point for our team to use. And I know as a result of some surveys that we're doing, that is one of the key areas that the financial advisors want more help with on how to utilize that second opinion. And I just wanted to throw that in, that it's just such a tremendous value for these guys when they sign up for the service. For $49.95, it's the deal. It's the opening door. It is so simple, and for that price, they can offer it at no charge, or they can they can charge whatever they choose to charge, depending on the client, what the client will bear. But just wanted to throw that in because it is a great value added incentive to the whole package. Thank you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It absolutely is a great opportunity for them. And quite frankly, even if they offer the second opinion service for completely free,
mm-hmm.
if you do it right, if you try and convert every single client that you offer this to into at least a tax client, you can mark up enough on delivering that tax return to absolutely cover the $49 that you put out to get the second opinion report.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they don't do any business with you right away, the advisor can still, in my mind, recover every single penny that they spend on offering this service. And you're right. I probably, on that one report for Margaret, I probably had 3.5 hours to 4 hours on that project, because it was, my report was so extensive that it easily would have cost $500 to $600.
Yeah.
But
this is for the easiest thing to sell, because you can go to your existing clients and you're not even, having to reach out to the prospects on this. This is the thing to take to your existing clients to build that relationship and to build your business.
Right.
I'm done.
I agree. I agree. Absolutely.
I just wanted to interject that I've asked local CPA firms here in Charlottesville if they will do second opinions during the off season, and they actually will not do it. they say they can't afford to do it, that they will be glad, if somebody brings their tax returns in, they'll file them for them, but they say they can't use the man hours to review previous returns for clients, just without charging anything. They can't take that risk. And I know with other like nationwide firms, and this is true with the firm I was with, that when they do a second opinion or review, all they are trying to find out, all they want to find out is, was the tax return filed correctly? They are not looking for any additional savings. Now, they may happen upon that, but they are not doing an in-depth review of the return, and definitely not having a CPA look at it. They're just verifying were the numbers entered correctly. Right.
It's Scott, I keep interjecting. I'm sorry, but from my experience with some of these tax companies, there may not even be a CPA associated with them. Never mind a CPA
absolutely.
reviewing. And a CPA reviews every return that goes out of our office, and that's another huge thing. Not putting anybody else down, but the fact is we have two sets of eyes on every return, one being a CPA.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable. I don't, not even Jackson Hewitt or Liberty Tax or even H&R Block can say that.
Right.
Well, Tom, you told me something that I thought was critical a couple months ago, that when tax returns are coming in, the CPA firm, H&R Block, it doesn't really matter. There's such an avalanche of work coming in, they really don't have time to do any tax planning. And then when it's the off season, they're doing other things, or they can't afford to have people in there full time to even market tax planning. This has been my experience, that in the off season they totally miss the opportunity to market tax services in the off season. So that in my opinion, that's really where the opportunity lies, is outside of tax season. But obviously, filing taxes during the regular season is a huge opportunity too.
Yeah, in fact, you're absolutely right. And
I think you said, "I wish I had more time." I think it was something like that you said. I wish I had more time during tax season.
Right, and we often, I do things a little bit differently than a lot of other practitioners do, and and places like H&R Block, Liberty Tax, all those big box stores, they're focused on the quick dollar, the here and now dollar, get the client, get their tax return filed and get paid, and they've run into plenty of other problems, over the years, but we do circle back on a lot of clients. That we saw things on their tax return, and we have a methodology in our office to be able to to circle back, to try and work with that client during those those off months. But for the largest part, other practitioners, H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, they all work the same. You just go to your local Walmart, right? During tax season, there's a little kind of maybe a cubicle kind of set up in Walmart, and it goes in about January 15th, and on January 16th, if you walk into Walmart, that cubicle is nowhere to be found. It's gone. And a lot of H&R Block offices, even in our local area here, they put a sign up on the door, thanks very much, we'll see you next season. If you have any problems or concerns, call this number. And that call goes to the a main office somewhere. And if you live here in Maine, you might have to travel 100+ miles to be able to actually speak to somebody in person about your tax return. And I think most people probably aren't going to do that, So you're absolutely right about about that. So as we were talking about, the marketing part of this is that we are providing materials to financial advisors. One of the things that we already have in place are, I've heard them referred to as ad slicks. We made a presentation 2 weeks ago to Morgan Stanley, and they didn't like the word slick. They said, you really got to change that. You really got to make it something different because it makes me think of Slick Willie.
Just print ads. Just print ads will work, Tom.
Yeah, right. We'll make that. We'll make it print ads. I don't really care. But we offer basically 4 print ads to advisors, and they are offering essentially tax preparation and the second opinion service, because those are our 2 most popular. And there are just slightly different formats, backgrounds. The message is the same, but the financial advisor could use that. They could take it right down to their local, newspaper or whatever the publication is, and put it down and say, look, this is the one I'm going to use, and put my name and address and telephone number and all that, my website, maybe my email, whatever it is, in this little block here, and you're good to go. So it's all set, all ready to go. And I don't know how many of them use what we provide versus maybe what they do on their own. And quite frankly, I don't care. I think the important thing that as a team we should be emphasizing to the advisor is that prospecting is a 52-week a year obligation. If you want to grow your business, you must always, always, always be prospecting. And with our service, it is easy to be prospecting 52 weeks a year. You might need to change your message just a little bit, but you can prospect 52 weeks a year using our service. So, and print ad is by and large the most popular way to go about doing that. Of course, you could use, we also provide radio ads, but you could use something like direct mail if you want to. We've had some advisors use direct mail with mixed results from what they tell us. Personally, I know when I get a piece of junk mail, and I know it's junk mail when you look at it, and we're probably all the same, into the shred bin it goes, or the fireplace, or wherever it is. And, the response rate on direct mail is usually 1% or less. If you get 1%, I'm told that that's a huge success. So if you sent out 1,000 direct mail pieces and you got 10 people to call you, you did fantastic. And I've had advisors do it, but I say, look at the effort that you're putting in here. You have to work with the printer, direct mail company to develop the mailer. You have to communicate over weeks of time. You have to put 1,000 pieces into the mail. That all costs money. Yes, I realize it's directed at an individual, but it all costs money, and it takes such a long amount of time. Why wouldn't you just, find your local publication, your county publication, put an ad in it, and tell them, bill my credit card every single week, or however it is you want to pay, and be in that publication, no fuss, no muss, just be done, and make a way for people to contact you. But we have radio ads that they can use. They're already recorded. We can arrange for them to pay our radio announcer to put their name and contact information into the ad. We offer brochures. So we're going to be, Linda, I don't think we have the final draft yet, but we've just completely revamped our brochure, and we're going to provide an advisor with 25 copies of the brochure as part of their subscription, and we're going to make it available so that they can take a standard format like in Word or PDF and take it to their local printer, or simply go to Vistaprint online and order those brochures and have them drop shipped right to them if they think that that's something that they want. Here's something that I think is really powerful. A handful of advisors have bought this from us, but we have 1040 Tips is we create 20 kind of short tax strategy ideas that we call our 20 tax tips that you can publish in a newspaper. It gives you 20 weeks of advertising and exposure in your newspaper, and maybe most people I think are probably going to want to use these if they use them probably starting in December and going through till the beginning of April, so that you get maximum exposure. And I don't know, maybe Linda, you can remind me, do we have any kind of inside information on anybody that's bought these, to whether they felt that they were helpful or not?
I'm not, I can't cite anybody in particular, but what I found last year that people were starting to use them with their drip email campaigns and also Facebook and social media. So it's just a combination, I think, of placing it as a print ad, social media, and then just directly emailing their existing client base. So that seems to be something that everyone's starting to use more and more, and it's and the tax tips are very relative, pertinent, and I think they're going to catch people's attention. I think again it's a simple, very simple, effective way of getting attention.
Right, and I'm going to talk about Facebook in a few minutes. So I'm running a little long on this part of the presentation, so I'm going to try and speed it up a little bit, but you get the idea with what the tax tips are. Things that we can...
Tom, I was just going to say, too, that the 4 print ads, the 25 brochures, and the 20 tax tips are all included in their subscription fee. So that, again, keeping that in mind, those are bonuses.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, so the tools that we, of course, offer to advisors, our second opinion report, very powerful. The what if tax illustrations. Here's something we haven't touched on yet. We even provide fee quotes to advisors that maybe have a concern about what they think this is going to cost. And we do a handful of these every year, but by and large, advisors don't take advantage of it. So, if they had a client that was concerned about how much is this going to cost, all they have to do is submit some information. I look at the information and I can provide them a quote in 2 fashions. One, we just call it a fee quote, which gives we're not committing to anything, but it gives the advisor a range, a low and a high of what I think it will probably be. If they ask for a max fee quote, then I am giving a commitment, and basically the commitment says, the fee to prepare this work will not exceed this number. So it's kind of like some upside protection. There's what I mentioned about the max fee quotes. We do all kinds of projects for clients. It's not just tax returns. Some of our Encore services that, we're also QuickBooks Pro advisors. We have a cloud-based payroll service that can operate in all 50 states, and it's all completely contained within the cloud. Everything is electronic. Businesses do not have to do anything other than connect to the service and tell the service, this is how many hours my employees work this week, and they get everything done for them, including direct deposit. And of course, most powerful thing, or one of the most, that everybody needs to emphasize, is that we don't just do tax returns, certain types of tax returns, or for certain states. We do all of them. There is not one federal income tax return that we cannot do. There is not one state. There is not even one locality that we cannot do a tax return for. We can't always electronically file them, and that has more to do with the state or the municipality, but we can still do the tax return. Our software service is very, very broad in terms of its ability to do all 50 states. I don't know of any state where I cannot file electronically unless it has something to do with something that's contained on the client's tax return, which they're barred from filing electronically, and that does happen. It even happens on the federal too, but really, not all that frequently. So, essentially,
Tom, do you have a flat fee for you don't have a flat fee for amendments, do you? Like previous year amendments?
No.
Okay.
We don't. They work exactly the same way. It's however, whatever our time commitment is at our billing rate, and that's the way it goes through. I usually have to emphasize to advisors, if somebody else prepared the return, like H&R Block, and I have to amend it, it's going to be more expensive that way because I've got to recreate the entire return in my software, and then I've got to amend it. So if it's a return that we've already done, then obviously there is not a lot of work involved, and it tends to be, very low cost to be able to do an amended return. So, okay. So having said that, I'm going to end this part of it, and I'm going to show you one of the things that you guys are going to need to be able to demonstrate is how an advisor accesses our service. So you all, right now you're seeing, you should be seeing our Money Smarts website. And for an advisor to get access to our service, they need only come down here and log in. We have a standard username, which is the word advisor, okay? The password is 1040, and that's I know I always chuckle when I see I kind of thought of that. Look at that, Linda. I'm gonna have to talk to our web people. There's something a little weird there, and where these things are.
Right, and we are in the process. I'm just telling everybody that of updating, all of our websites and the information to make it run smoother. And so bear with us for another couple of weeks till we may get some of the kinks out. But I think it's going quite smoothly, really.
Right. When an advisor logs into that first level of being able to access what we call our management console, here's what they see. And pretty much every function or request that you can ever do through Money Smarts, you can do just by clicking on a button right here. Okay. And when an advisor has a new client that they want to send this information, they come to this, to this page on our website. They click Cabinet Request, and then they get a form from which to, to submit their request. They tell us, their name. Typing is not my strong suit. They tell us maybe their company name. They give us a client's, name. For example, they tell us a phone number, email. Maybe they even get to tell us something about this particular request. And then they simply only have to send, click submit. And an email is sent to our advisor support desk, which tells them this particular advisor would like us to open a new account for a prospective client. And it was that simple. Of course, I took the shortcut, and you can see here that I didn't. I'm just so you can see. Okay, see they even get a confirmation that that their request has been sent. Okay. If they want to ask questions, if they have concerns about a particular project, again, they can click a very specific input form, and this is true for basically all of these. You can do a second opinion request, a fee quote, max fee quote, whatever, anything. Now, they also have down here, you can see, like, we have all of our marketing materials are available right here on that page. And if they, as of right now, of course, if you want them, you're going to pay for them, and you can order them right on that by clicking on that button. But more importantly, if they want to log into our web portal, they're going to click this button here, and that's going to launch them right to this page. They're going to put in their username. Now I'm putting in, of course, my username. They have to match the picture that's underneath their name to what's down in the list. And I always think the shark is a little ominous, but notwithstanding that, it's you have to match the pictures, and then you click continue. And then there's a password. Now you all can't see my password, but once they press the login button, this is where everything happens from here, where they can access everything that that they need to do within they can see all of their client. I'm just gonna pick this one here, and they can see the contents of whatever's in in the client's cabinet that exists now. They can somebody dropped out. At any rate, it looks exactly like what you have seen before. If they want, they can search for, if they have multiple cabinets, they can search for it. There is a cabinet known as advisor support. This is really important for every advisor because all of our forms are basically in this cabinet. So if you need an engagement letter, a disclosure authorization, an extension request, maybe you want to take advantage of, read our quick start guide, anything like that, that's all contained within this particular cabinet. So using using our portal, it's not exactly intuitive. I agree. It's not intuitive, but it is, in a manner of speaking, practical. Everybody has their own cabinet. Everybody kind of gets that idea.
Hey, Tom.
Cabinet. Yeah.
Hey, this is Holly. I know we mentioned on the phone a while back when I spoke to you, if there's a way to put together some sort of a cheat sheet or something to help people. I know just me as a user sending you my stuff for my taxes, it wasn't always super intuitive where I should put particular documents when I uploaded them. But so some sort of a cheat sheet might be a useful thing to include for advisors where certain documents should be placed.
You're absolutely right. And,
right. And Tom, I'm sorry. I'm in the process of putting together maybe a half a dozen just cheat sheets for different things, and that is one of them. Just to pull together some information that is already on the system, but it isn't obvious, and pulling it out so that we can, have, again, we'll call them cheat sheets. I was calling them tips, but some tip sheets. And I'm looking at also some sheets designed for us for selling tips for us and selling tips for the financial advisors. So and anybody that has requests or suggestions, please email me with your thoughts and input, things that might be helpful to you or might you see that would be helpful to the financial advisor. Thank you.
That sounds good.
We also have, Holly, a YouTube channel, and right through our regular website, many things are already covered. So, for example, you can find, let's see, it's probably under a cabinet tour, but just something simple like how to log in, right? This video, we have it's very well done, and I don't think you all are probably able to hear that, but because where the sound is coming from, but this actually shows an advisor how exactly to do, some of those functions. So I think, the uploading process is covered in one of those videos, but again, a practical demonstration. If you have a guy that likes this and you want to give a demonstration, we're going to set up a user ID for you in collaboration so that you can invite them to watch your screen while you upload a document to show them just how easy that actually is, right? So, for example, how easy that is, I'm going to utilize this my favorites thing here, and I happen to have a folder set up here for myself because I have some tenants that are looking at a property that I own for rent, and if uploading something is just so easy, click the button, upload, find, browse, and I can put, I can look at something, let's say on my desktop here, where I have fax cover sheets, and I could select whatever I want, and you can see, done. It's that simple, but a practical demonstration is, absolutely, I think a good thing. What's the phrase that what I see I remember, or what I read I remember, but what I do I know. And so actually being able to do it, I think is pretty simple. So there are a lot of features that are contained within this within our web portal that I could spend a whole day on just talking about that. For example, we can take any document and we can securely share it with anybody. And I'm going to pick on Scott for a moment because I can see that he has his phone muted. But I could decide that I need to share this document with Scott Middlesworth, and maybe I'm not going to put any security on it just for grins and giggles, but I've just now sent a secure link to Scott where if he knows that he's going to need to use his user ID to log in, and if I put a password on that document, he'd be able to take that document and do anything he wanted with it. And it happened just that fast. So specifically, an advisor might call us and say, my client is over at the bank and they're applying for a mortgage because they're going to buy a new house, and they need 3 years of their 3 of the last years of their tax returns, and this happens all the time. We can quickly send those tax returns electronically, securely through the internet, and get them right to the banker. It's a little more complicated because we have to comply with Treasury regulations, but we basically need a written authorization to do that. But it works that fast. We have these things set up so that when we have a financial advisor, and I'm sorry Lola had to drop off of the call, but anytime we create a cabinet for a financial advisor, each of these folders can have special programming. And this right here is when any of these actions, and we just happen to have this one set up for upload, whenever that happens, whenever anything gets uploaded to that folder, it automatically sends a notification to our office manager, who basically controls all of our incoming jobs, and we have billing, advisor can pay for their work right through our website. So, given any, let me just show you at this moment, these are outstanding invoices that are in our portal right now, and you can see these little locks. That tells us that particular cabinet or folder or whatever it happens to be is locked until the advisor pays that invoice, and they can even set it up in their in their account that they want a particular credit card, and there can be multiple cards that they can have in there, and they choose whenever they click that button to say pay your invoice. It's a lot like a electronic vending machine, in that you put your money in, you put in the code for the snack that you want, and the machine dispenses it down below, and it works exactly like that. So again, I could spend a lot more time on the internal workings of our web portal, but it's pretty robust. So I think that kind of has us to a point in our conversation where, Linda, I think the floor is yours now. I'm 5 minutes over on my presentation, so.
Well, that wasn't bad, Tom. I just have a couple things to add, and I'm thinking that as we've gone through all of this, that I want to mention how important just our Money Smarts webpage is. I think that that's really our selling tool, to utilize that page and know it inside and out. Be able to demonstrate that with your prospects. That to me is our biggest selling tool, the Money Smarts website itself, and then the YouTube videos that really become familiar with that, know it inside out, and then I think the maybe the thing that's going to take a little bit more practice is actually getting into the secure web portal and playing with that. I've done a couple of dummy accounts just to get a feel of how the process works. So I think those are the keys to being able to sell the program and to learn the program, is really becoming so familiar with all of this that you know it inside and out. And we are in the process of rebranding our company. We're looking to changing the logo from a tax preparation service to a lead generation service. So we're rebranding everything that we have in the media. It's going to take time, but we'll have it ready by the end of the month, at least to go with it. And I wanted to say that if we haven't received your sales agreement contract, please get it into us, and also send me the copy that you would like to have on your business cards. So I'm working with that. I think we're going to end up just going to Vistaprint and going in that route for the business cards, but we will provide business cards for all of you.
Hey, Linda,
yes.
Can I? This is Holly. Do you have like an image of a business card with some suggested, what it looks like generally, or some suggested text? I wouldn't begin to know what to ask for.
Yes, I will send everybody the format once I have it approved. I'll send everybody the format. So in the meantime, be thinking about what you want on there for your contact information. How's that?
Okay.
That'd be great.
That's good.
I'm just thinking we've covered a lot of materials. We are in the process of tallying up a survey that we sent out about a month ago, and I will send everybody some summary information on that. And really what we are reaching out to try to find out what the financial advisors want from us. So I have a little bit of information on that almost ready to go. I think that's about it, because I've kind of thrown in some other things as we've gone along. We are working on dividing up the territories for you folks. We are also working on obtaining more leads. Tom's looking at some mailing lists, etc. So all of this will come together in the next few weeks. And certainly, I would like to set up one-on-one conversations with everybody as we go along too. After, I guess we'll say after Labor Day. So I don't know, Tom. Was there anything obvious that I forgot to mention?
No, I think you covered everything. I was only going to add to that, that we're not sending anybody out with doing cold calls. That's not at all what is going to happen here. And we are going to be purchasing, email contact information to be able to start launching our drip emails at a number of, new potential, clients for everybody. And I'd really like to hear maybe from everybody, maybe by an email, but, this company that we're going to be focusing on or using has the ability to geographically identify individuals and, to quantify the kind of credentials that they have. For example, they might be a CFP, or they might have a Series 6 or 65 N65. They might be a captive life agent. They can identify these people on a lot of things, but they can also do it geographically. So I'm going to throw 1,000 contacts at every single one of our salespeople, and I'd really like to hear from them to say, I'd really like to focus, maybe like Scott, for example, might say, I'd really like to focus on, Charlottesville, maybe Richmond, Charlotte, North Carolina. Like you could be really specific on your geographic areas, so that when you do are reaching out to these people, you're already pre-qualifying. You might not want to work with an advisor that's in East Overshoe, Iowa, but if a guy was in Des Moines, that might be an entirely different prospective advisor, that you're going to get a commission off of. So, I think that would be helpful to me when we're going out to buy this information, where to look, to be able to send it for everybody. Make sense? Are you there, Linda?
I am, and I'm thinking. I'm thinking, what you were just alluding to is the demographics and the different areas, and I was also thinking, should and Scott can help with this too. Should we be looking at the independents? I say, the smaller, or should we be looking at the bigger companies? What's the pros and cons are with the bigger company like the Morgan Stanley we presented to, versus somebody that's connected to a smaller group? I think that's something that we might want to analyze a little bit to see where our focus should be going.
Yeah.
My opinion is to definitely focus. Here would be the top of the list for me would be an independent insurance agent, maybe property and casualty life agent, because they're not dealing with a broker dealer. Then maybe an independent life, health, securities licensed person with an independent firm. I think when definitely if you're ever dealing with Allstate, Edward D. Jones, you're not going to get anywhere with them. I mean, I would avoid them like the plague, because they will not make. You're going outside their business model. Anything outside their business model is generally going to be shot down.
Right. And that
any
was
compliance officer. Yeah, I mean that.
Yeah. I was thinking on that same line, but I needed to hear it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't had really. Go ahead.
As I had mentioned to Tom, maybe even mortgage brokers might be somebody that might also be. There may be people outside of financial advisors, and I do tend to like mortgage brokers because their business is so ultra competitive. But that's true with property and casualty. That's true with life agents. Just anybody independent in the financial service industry is would benefit from this.
Mm-hmm. We just recently had a conversation with a new marketing sales manager for a group of health insurance. I think they basically use health insurance, and they want to expand because of the new quote Obamacare. The time frame for health insurance is limited, so they're looking at other ways to expand their business and utilize their time, and that seemed to be a natural fit.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm looking at the time, and should we think about wrapping up? And
I think we should. Is there any? We had originally scheduled the last piece to be kind of open questions and discussion. Is there anything that burning issue that anybody really that needs me to comment on or address or talk about? If not, then we can wrap up. And if you don't have anything, you're welcome to drop off of the call, and I'll stick around. And I've got open until noon today, so I can answer questions or comment on anything up until noon. But that's entirely up to everybody else.
Well, Tom, I'm here till noon, I guess. How's that?
Okay. Fair enough. Right. If Lola, Holly, and Scott, if you have some questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me directly. We can have a separate conversation about it, and then we can do whatever. So
I did have one other thought that came to mind a while ago when you were talking about web security, Tom, and is Collaboration Studios, is that the company basically that's powering the portal?
It is the Collaboration that powers the portal, yeah.
Is there something, like you were saying how wonderful they are, how secure they are, but is there something that is, and I haven't actually looked at their website other than actually logging into the portal, so is there information out there that can be shared with advisors to sort of underscore why they're better than the next guy and therefore why this service is better than something else, to highlight that security that they are offering? What makes them stand apart from the next service?
Absolutely.
That might be something.
And, I could do a number of things. We have direct contact with basically the chief operating officer of the company, and he has been on many calls with us. They have, of course, all of their information posted on their website. If somebody had a kind of a technical concern, he's the guy that I would go to say, this is why the love bug virus is not going to affect our web portal. Here's why, the same hackers that came after Ashley Madison are not going to be coming after our web portal. So he'd be the guy. It might be that.
Okay. If there were a link or some sort of prepared materials to share with advisors, up front or something they could continue to check in on, particularly in light of these data breaches, when something happens, they might say, well, hey, do I need to worry now about my Money Smart stuff? Someplace where they can check in and just get that assurance, or, where there is a laundry list of credentials about the website security. Just something that they can sort of check in and have their basic questions answered. That might just be something that's good to include with information for the advisors when they sign up, or to entice them to sign up. Something they can refer to.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion, Holly. I'll get together with Tom and we'll put together something so that you have it, you have it available to share with the something simple, but
right,
so that they have something from us as well as then they can go to that website. And that's a good suggestion.
I might just give them the extra sort of boosted confidence about why this is a good idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine. Maybe we could even have a link. They could add something to their website about, this is the technology that we use, and we could put a link on our website to whatever that is, so that somebody could see, where we're getting that information from, or the representations that that Collaboration Studios is using. So I think that would be fine.
Yeah, and I like that, Tom. And so much of everything that we do is on this on the Money Smarts website. So that can, if that can be the one stop resource for us as a sales team, and then for the financial advisor, that's the way to go. Put everything there.
Right.
I'm sneaking now. I put things on my desktop, that I quickly want to pull out. But really, it should be on the Money Smarts page.
Right.
Okay. Yep. Good.
Okay.
All right. Well, I see Scott's dropped off the call, so
okay.
Dropping like flies.
Well, Holly, I just want to say too that maybe after Labor Day and you figure out what your schedule is going to be, as we all do after Labor Day, that you and I can set up a time to chat, because we really haven't talked. We've been doing emails, but I'd like to have a talk, just to get together and see what we can do to help each other would be great. Okay.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I apologize because my availability, I know, is ridiculous because I'm basically not available. But I was telling Tom in a recent call that I think, it's going to become clearer to me when my availability is going to be and how I can make this work. My daughter will be starting preschool, and the little one. Yeah, I know. I think the little one's going to start dropping her morning nap, so that's not what I had in mind. But
oh, gee.
So I need to, kind of see how some of those things shake out to see where I can squeeze in my time to do all this stuff. So I apologize anyway that my availability has been a little bit ridiculous.
So
and I use my Fridays for the time.
Yeah, well, we'll try to work. We'll try to work with you, and
I appreciate
reality
that.
For me too. After the beginning of September, I have more flexibility as well. So we could even we can talk at some odd times if need be. Okay.
That works for me. That's great.
Great. All right. All right.
All right.
Thank
you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you, Tom.
So long, everybody. Yep. Bye now.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.